Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Andrew Burton. I'm going to be just taking you through a little bit of information about the registration process for this year for international students. For those of you that haven't yet gone through that process, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what we do during our studies here and just some of the things that as an international student you need to be aware of. Some of the things that my team do. So I look after the Student Immigration Services team, and then just signposting you to some of the support that we have available to us to help you through your studies here and with your any issues you have as an international student with regards to your visa. Okay, so let's move on to the first slide we have. Okay, so this is just to give a summary of what my team do, the main services that we do, and how we can help you during your time here with us. So firstly, we are responsible for registering new international students to the course, and that's something that I'm going to take you through today. We hand out the biometric residence permits that you will get when you come to the UK. Which will be your visa for your time here, which will show you everything you need to know about your visa end dates, start dates, and your working rights. We're responsible for monitoring international student immigration status, so that's why we need to get copies of all of your documents and just make sure that everything's in order there. If there are any changes in circumstances, we need to report these to UK Visas and Immigration. So these sorts of changes would be where a student changes course, where they maybe take up a work placement, if there are any breaks in studies, or if a student leaves the course. And indeed, newly for this year, where a student successfully completes their course and they want to apply for the graduate route visa, we're responsible for telling the Home Office that UK Visas and Immigration that student has successfully passed the course to aid them in processing that visa application. And another primary role for my team is providing visa advice to students. So it can be some fairly general queries about visa status and the immigration rules. We can provide support and casework for students submitting applications to extend their visa while they're here. As I say, we provide some much more general information and guidance about your rights and the responsibilities as a student route student when you're in the UK on a student visa, and we can support you with other processes relating to UK visa and immigration, which we refer to as UKVI, for things where, for example, if you lose your BRP, your visa, we can help you in the process of applying for a replacement, or if you are required to challenge a UKVI decision, we can do our best to support you in that wherever we possibly can. Okay, move on to the next slide. So I'm just going to take you through here the registration process in a top level. You should have received information about this already, but I will go into just some of the detail here just to take you through what we're doing. So it's a three-stage process ultimately at the moment, registration. It's something that's slightly different to in normal years because we're making it available for students to do the whole registration process remotely. So even if they've not yet come to the UK, they can undertake the registration process. So there's no barrier there. So step one is to complete the online pre-registration process. So you will receive an invite to do this via email when you are eligible to do so. If you have any questions about that, the contact is to registration@dmu.ac.uk. So if you've not received that email and you feel you should have done, or you have difficulty with the actual process of completing the online pre-registration, then that's the contact point for that. So really what we're looking to get for you from the registration process, and the reason we have to do the online pre-registration, is to get all that information about you, your address, and just confirm the information that's going to go onto your file as a student. Okay, so let's move on to step 2, which is to pay at least 50% of your tuition fees. So this is the De Montfort University tuition fee policy for international students, that in order to register on the program, you must pay at least 50% of your tuition fees, which is your first year, or if you're only studying 1 year with us, for example, as a postgraduate program, your entire course. You will alternatively have government scholarship sponsorship, for example. That would be evidence that you could provide. And this also doesn't apply directly to those students that are joining the De Montfort University International College to start with. So for any student joining De Montfort University directly on one of our undergraduate or postgraduate programs or postgraduate research programs, you have to pay at least 50% of your fees. And once you've done step 1 and step 2, you'll be invited to move on to step 3, which is to book and complete your online registration video appointment. So once you've completed steps 1 and 2, you'll receive an invitation to make a booking for a video appointment. And I'll take you through what we do in that video appointment in a bit more detail. So that's a process that replaces the face-to-face visa checking that you would normally have if you're arriving in the UK to start with, before we made these allowances for remote registration. So again, if you have any queries about that, it's contacting internationalregistration@dmu.ac.uk. And this information is all coming out to you in email as well, so you should be receiving this directly. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through now what that step 3, what it involves, just so you're prepared and you know the process. So the registration appointment process, as I say, you would have been sent an email to book an appointment. After you've done that, you'll be sent a follow-up email which will invite you to the meeting. So it's an online meeting using Microsoft Teams. You would join the meeting at your booked time slot, so you'll have a range of options in terms of booking your appointment slots at 15-minute intervals. So please join on time. If you're too early or too late, then it might slow us down a little bit in getting through to you. So please try to join as close to your meeting time as you possibly can. When you do log into the meeting via your web browser, you're asked to put your name in there. If it would be really helpful for us if you could put your DMU student ID, we know, also known as your P number, normally begins with a P and a 2. So it'd be really helpful if that's in your name, because that will help us find your record and process your attendance very quickly. And again, just have that number available if you're unable to put it in your title, so that we can ask you for it and you can help us find your record straight away. Have a copy of your immigration document that you have to hand. Now, in this circumstances, with some of you being here in the UK with us already, some of you not yet here yet, the document that you need to provide to us will depend upon where you are. So if you're a student that's yet to travel to the UK or yet to apply for your visa, you obviously won't have a visa to show us. But if you are here, we will want to see that visa. So we've put together an online document guidance form, which again, you should have been sent an email to, and this will certainly come with your registration email invite, which will link you to an online form. So all you need to do is just answer a few questions and it'll tell you exactly what document you need to send to us. And you would email a copy of that through to internationalregistration@dmu.ac.uk. And then we can get it all uploaded to your file to make sure that, again, your appointment is as quick as it possibly can be for you. So when you arrive in the meeting, so you'll be sent a link. You need to click on that link and access the meeting. You'll go into the main room. You will then hopefully wait only a few moments, and then you'll be put into what we call a breakout room on a one-on-one basis with a member of DMU staff who'll just take you through the whole process. So hopefully there'll be only a short wait for you while you have to be allocated to work with an individual member of staff, and the whole process shouldn't really take more than 15 minutes if we have everything up and running for us and we have all the information ready at the beginning. Once you're in the breakout room, please ensure that you're able to turn your camera and your microphone on. We do need to see you to verify who you are, and just make sure everything is all in order there. So yeah, and one other thing I would say really is we've noticed that generally, if you're at all possible for you to join on a computer rather than a mobile phone, it makes the process work a lot better. Sometimes the mobile phones don't allow us to move you into one of those breakout rooms, and that slows the process down a bit. So if you do have access to a computer, please join using that rather than your phone, please. Okay, so that's the registration process as a whole, and that's obviously what we're doing and why we're doing it, to get you through and set up on the course. I'm just going to take a little bit of time now to talk you through some of the information and some of the things that you need to be signposted to for during your studies, just so you're aware the next steps really, and the important things to be aware of as an international student, which most of this applies to once you're actually here in the UK with us. So if we just move on to the next slide. Okay, so as I mentioned at the start, at DMU, we can issue biometric residence permits to students, and when you apply for your visa, you would have been asked by UK Visa and Immigration where you want your BRP to be delivered. So you may be asked to book an appointment with us to come and collect that from us in person. You would need to, your other alternative would be to have had it delivered to one of the post offices here in the UK. So if that's the case, you would obviously need to go to that location point, and you should have an email. And one thing I would say is guidance normally requires a student to collect BRP within 10 days of arrival in the UK. Please just be mindful of any self-isolation periods, and if they are in place, they mean that you don't have to collect within 10 days of arrival if there is a self-isolation period. That is more important than the time it takes to collect your BRP. So please do not attempt to collect your BRP until you've completed any self-isolation period that might apply for people arriving in the UK from your place of origin. So once you're here and you're registered, a really important thing and that we need to kind of make a point to students is, you do need to attend your timetable events. DMU has to monitor student attendance, and we have to report non-attendance to UK Visa and Immigration. So anyone here on a student visa, the main reason for that person to be in the UK is to study, and if there's an indication that a student isn't studying, then the university has to report that to the Home Office. So please do attend as many of your timetables of your events as you are able to, whether that's online if you're not here yet, or in person, whether it's an in-person event, you must attend. Please make sure your fee payment is up to date. So we will work with you to make sure that you're able to get your fees to us, and to ensure that you have access to the finance office to make sure you're able to make those fees. Ultimately, if a student doesn't pay the fees, then again, that's something we have to report to the Home Office. And if that gets to the point where we have to notify them that you're no longer studying because fees aren't up to date, then obviously that will mean that visas are cancelled, and we don't want to get to that point. If you do decide to work, please make sure you're aware of the working hours and you don't go over these. That would be considered a serious breach of your visa rights and could result in people being removed from the country. So please just be aware of your working rights. If you're unsure about any of that, then reach out to my team and we'll be happy to talk that through with you. As a general rule, you wouldn't be working more than 20 hours during term time. And that would be stated clearly on your visa. So it's really important that if you are going to do part-time work, it is part-time during studies, and obviously that's a really important part of this. And that's part of the overall looking after your immigration status, because breaches of the immigration rules can have long-lasting impacts on your ability to apply for further leave in the UK or even in other countries as well. So it's really important that you are aware of your responsibilities as an international student and you follow those through. Think about the next steps early, especially if you're looking to stay in the UK. So, for example, if you want to stay in the UK and take up the graduate route and have 2 years living and working in the UK after your studies, you'd need to successfully complete your course as stated on your CAS. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind at all times, really, in your course, if that's your goal. And again, if you have any queries or concerns, please just speak to us. And there's just some contact details on the next slide, so just move to that one. And I'm just going to have a quick look at the questions that have been posted for 1 second. Okay, so you need to collect your BRP as soon as you can. So the question was, can we collect our BRP at any time before expiring the UK student visa? No, you need to collect it as soon as possible. As I say, if there is a self-isolation period, you need to get to the end of that, and then you need to book the next available appointment that we have for you to collect the BRP. So you do need to have that, and also you find that you will generally need to have that if you're asked to evidence your right to be in the UK for things like work or bank accounts and things like that. You may need your BRP for that, so do collect it as soon as you can. So the next question, online video appointment is due on the 27th of September. How long does it take to finalise my registration? Okay, so your appointment with us is on the 27th. Thank you for booking. The actual process of finalising the registration will take no more than 15 minutes. So it's a very quick process. Okay, and I have another question here. Please advise if my spouse BRP is also available on the same day. So when we ask you to book if it's one that is collected from DMU, when we ask you to book your appointment, we will ask you if you're collecting the BRP for any dependent. If we have it, we will make it available to you, and more often than not, we are able to give them out together. But obviously, we can only give out BRPs that the UK Visa Immigration have sent to us. So if you, when you make your appointment, if you put in there that you have also requested your BRP for your dependents and you give their names, we will let you know if we have that with you and we're able to give that out. But usually, yes, we can do them all together. And we appreciate multiple trips with various dependents can be quite inconvenient. So we will try and get those together for you and give you them in one go. Okay. So I'll just pause to see if there are any other questions that are going to come in. Okay, just got another question here. I need to collect the BRP because I can only I'm only here for 3 months. Student exchange. Normally, if you have a period of study less than 6 months, you wouldn't normally get a BRP. You'll probably have a sticker in your passport which covers the entire duration of your studies. So that's one of the circumstances where you wouldn't need a biometric residence permit. So hopefully, if you look at your sticker in your passport there, Juliana, you should see the date, the end date of that is aligned, is either around the time of your course end date or after that date. If not, then please let me know. We can, if you email brp@dmu.ac.uk, we can look into that for you. But hopefully your sticker in your passport should cover that. Okay, so the next one is saying the Microsoft form has not been opening up here. Which Microsoft form is that you're referring to? If you could just post that for me, I'll come back to that one. Do I need to send the immigration document for my spouse to the registration team? No, if your spouse is on a dependent visa, we don't need to see his documentation. We only need to see the documentation for the student that's registering with us, so we don't need your dependents documents. And what happens if you lose a BRP. So you would need to apply for a new BRP at that point with the Home Office, and there's a process of you would need to report it as lost with the police, as it's a secure document. It's really important that you do report it as lost, because obviously it's got your personal information on there, and we need to make sure that it's all cancelled off. And then there's a process for completing the application for a replacement BRP, and a small fee. I'm afraid I don't know what that is at the moment. I think it's around £150, I believe, or thereabouts. So if you could get in touch with our visa advice team in that circumstance, we will help you through that process to make sure it's as quick as it possibly can be. Okay, so that's a few more questions. Do I need a BRP if I have an entry clearance which allow me to? Sorry, do I need a BRP if I have an entry clearance which allow me to rent and work in 2023? Probably not. We have been seeing some slightly different entry clearance endorsements from the UK Visa and Immigration. Normally, for any period of leave after 6 months, the UK Visa and Immigration would issue a BRP. If you have an entry clearance that runs right through until 2023 and it's a student route one, if you could just get in touch with on the email addresses I gave at the end of this slide, we'll have a quick look at that for you and just make sure that it is what you need. In terms of your leave, it would suggest to me that your visa, that your right to be here, runs that period of time. We just need to make sure that you have the right documentation. If there is a BRP that you need and it hasn't been provided to you, we will work with you and the Home Office to get that sorted out for you. Okay, and finally, you get to see me in full screen. Look at you. The Microsoft form will need to. Okay, so yeah, the appointments are booked through Microsoft Bookings. I will have a look at that, and I will check that it's available. I wasn't having any problems with it earlier today, and I have to be seen. Oh, do you mean the Microsoft form in terms of your documents? I'll have a look at that. We did have some issues with access previously. To my knowledge, it was working this morning, but I will have a look at that. I'm happy to answer specifically what document we want from you if you want to put your circumstances in, but I'll have a look at the form and just make sure that's up and running. Okay. So the registration document guidance will ask if I have pre-settled status. What does this mean? So if you are an EU national that was already in the UK prior to the beginning of the year, you will potentially have applied for pre-settled or settled status. If you're not an EU national, then that wouldn't be relevant. So that the document guidance form should generally point you in the direction of your particular circumstances, and normally, unless you're an EU national, it shouldn't be asking you for that. So just to kind of give you a summary, really, of the documents that we do need, and what that form will tell you is, if you're in the UK currently and you've collected your BRP, then we need a copy of both sides of your BRP. If you're in the UK but you've not yet collected your BRP, we need a copy of your entry clearance sticker in your passport with the stamp on it that you got at the airport. If you're not yet in the UK and you have had that sticker back, then we need a copy of that sticker. And if you've not yet applied for your visa and or you're not yet in the UK, we will register you based on your passport. We will get the document from you at a later date. If it's a situation where you've not yet applied for your visa and we're just registering you based on your passport, then we don't need to send a copy. You don't need to send a copy of that to us, because we would have got that during the admissions process. Okay. And there's one more question. So is there a charge for collecting the fees from the BRP from the post office. No, there shouldn't be any charge for collecting the BRP from the post office. You'll just need to take with you your passport that has your entry clearance document in there, and your letter that you had when you received your visa back and your passport back from the UKVI in your home country, that tells you where to collect your BRP and when from. But there shouldn't be any charge, no. And there's no charge from collecting that from the university either. So that should be okay. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions that have come up so far. But if there is anything that you've not had answered today, or you think of anything else you want to ask us, please use the contact details that we've put up here. So we have the visa advice team, or have the immigration compliance team. So there's lots of email addresses flying around. Don't worry if you don't get quite the right one. We will get the query through to the right person. But I would just say, if you have any questions about anything, please do let us know. Yeah, so if we could just put at the end slide, that would be great. So you have those contact details. And these will obviously be all of the emails that we send out to you. So we will be in touch with you as well, just to let you know some of this information as throughout our time in the UK. And if we need time with us, and if we need anything from you, we will of course be in touch. But just to thank you for everyone for listening to me today, and we look forward to seeing you at registration and then throughout the year with us. Thank you.